Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews. Today was a small feature here on the racetrack, the Nürburgring, with the Jaguar F-Type. Actually with the Jaguar F-Type all-wheel drive, because this one are the new versions. Here we can see the Jaguar F-Type R, the R Coupe. It's a 550 horsepower V8 compressor. And behind me there's the V6, the F-Type S with 380 horsepower. And actually these two very versions are also the one that will be available with all-wheel drive. Also for the convertible, so coupe and convertible also with all-wheel drive, but just for these top versions then. The all-wheel drive will be predominantly rear-wheel driven still, so as long as the road is dry and everything is under control, a lot of power will be direct to the rear wheels. As soon as there will be some slip, also some torque will be directed to the front wheels. And we're going to experience that on the racetrack here today. We got dry conditions, so not so much power should be directed to the front wheels. But very, very exciting to see how the F-Type behaves here now, because you know, the F-Type is a really wild ride. And if you got so much power on the rear axle, it can also be, well, very funny here when you really push the throttle. So it will be very exciting how this car behaves now with the all-wheel drive, because actually it will be very important. In Germany, for example, they say that 2/3 of the customers in future will pick the F-Type with all-wheel drive, and also the Porsche 911. Just worldwide, 2/3 of all customers already pick it with all-wheel drive, and so this has a lot of significance for the customers. Just to give you a short impression here from the exterior, this is the F-Type S, 380 horsepower with the V6. You also got the S logo in the front and already have the sporty spoilers here. You especially see it here in the front, and also on the side you see a massive side spoiler. In this case we got 19-inch alloys here with red contrasting brake calipers, and also the Jaguar here is red, the Jaguar Growler here in this case. And as we know from the F-Type R Coupe, it has this very dramatic coupe styling here in the rear part. Here in the silver color here now. And if we just take a short look at the interior, you see there are these special door hinges that come out when you press open at the key. And on the interior we got, the door hinges here. They're hidden then when you press them and when you close them. And here on the inside we got the sport seats with a very good combination, because we got Alcantara on the inside and leather on the outside, and that really keeps you tight to the seat here, and I think it's the best combination so far. What is actually a pity that the sport seats are rather for small people. You see that this kind of neck part here, it already begins, well, almost at my lower back in this case, and my head goes above the seat. So if you're like 190 or taller, it's not the best position for you. Already here in the S version, we got these orange shifting levers, although they don't feel too good in the quality. But we got that nice flattened end steering wheel, and also this cockpit-like controls reminds you of the aircraft. And I've already told you in full review of the F-Type, this Eurofighter button here. This can be driven in the sports mode either, or in the snow mode if you push it up. But as you got the all-wheel drive here, you don't really need the sport mode anymore, because you always should have enough traction. How can you always distinguish the V8 and the V6? Here the V6 got 2 pipes and they are central here in the F-Type S. And the V8 got 4 pipes, we'll also show you that again. And here in the all-wheel drive version we also got an all-wheel drive badge here, which is connected with the S badge. And a short overview here on the F-Type R Coupe all-wheel drive. Again, the full review of this car is already linked in the video description. Here with the all-wheel drive, you don't see so much from the outside. They've made the car a little bit stiffer, say 10% stiffer here for the all-wheel drive model, so that it even performs better on road and racetrack. Here we got 20-inch alloys with red brake calipers, and of course these massive spoilers here in the front and also in the rear. Beautiful here in this contrast in black, the supercharged air takes here. It's very typical for the Jaguars. And the biggest difference, of course, is in the rear here with the V8 engine. Very beautiful lines all the way until the back. By the way, the rear taillights have this quotation from the E-Type still, because the E-Type had a similar light unit on the rear. And then you see this 4 massive exhaust pipes now, and that's really distinguishes the V8 model here, the V8 compressor. You immediately see that it is this one, and it already got the all-wheel drive connection with the R then in this AWD version. And then a short look at the exterior here in the R version, R and all-wheel drive. We see everywhere red contrast stitches here on the handle for the co-driver, the panic hinge kinda. It's a really funny feature as well. And we also got the flattened steering wheel here, in this case with an R logo, and they obviously heard my criticism from the models before. This surface here now for the shifting lever has improved. It doesn't feel cheap anymore, and also got this nice aluminum style. Also the racing seats here, in this case full leather, also equipped with red contrast stitches here. I would also recommend to go, as we had in the V6 version, to go with the fabric or Alcantara on the inside. That's actually better for the climate comfort and also for the racetrack. In this case, we also got the contrast seat belts in red. This contrast scheme is also very well done. This is just a short overview of the interior. We also got a panoramic roof here in this R version that brings so much more light to the interior. I would always recommend that. Of course, you know, I'm a convertible fan, so if I would go for the F-Type, I would usually pick a convertible. However, earlier racetrack tests showed us that the Coupe really performs better on the racetrack. It's just even stiffer then, and you really feel the difference on the racetrack. And on the R model especially, because it got the even stiffer suspension then. So, and then let's finally go with the racetrack. So let's start here now with the F-Type Coupe R with the new all-wheel drive. You know, the last time we've driven the F-Type R Coupe as it was released, so also check out that full review. It was very exciting there, also in different versions there. But now with the all-wheel drive, so I'm really looking forward to the difference. And of course here again on the Nürburgring racetrack today, we'll experience how the F-Type R performs here. You know, maybe I've said it before, the F-Type is one of the most fun cars there is on the market right now, because it's actually also so brutal. You heard that one? And you maybe also felt it, although you are sitting behind the camera. It's really so much fun to drive this car here on the racetrack. So brutal. But then again, when I really push the throttle, also some power is directed to the front wheels, and that helps me really to control the car. That's my instructor. So, and now again. Yeah, well, now on dry conditions, of course we don't feel the effect of the all-wheel drive that much. But it's actually a good safety feature to have it, unless you're not really going on the edge. Because when you just have the rear-wheel drive, you easily feel when the car gets to the limits. With an all-wheel drive car, it's more the case you can better push it at first, but then it can break out totally. welcome you again now in the V6 380 horsepower, also in the new all-wheel drive version. So I must say, from the V8, of course, you just have so much power there, and the F-Type R is also a little bit stiffer on the road with the V8 and also the special suspension in the arm. But here in the V6, you hear it maybe also through this microphone. It's really totally different sound. I wouldn't really say that the V8 is so much more powerful from the sound. It's really something completely different. Just compare it also when you heard the other one in the video. I think it's really a very interesting detail. What I immediately realized is that when I accelerate hard out of the corners, the V8 does have this little bit of extra power, where it's like 1 second faster that all of the power sets in. However, you have to think about the V6 is lighter, so that can also be an advantage than in the corners. And with the all-wheel drive, the difference is also a little bit less than just with the rear-wheel drive between the two cars, because due to the four-wheel drive, the power can be brought to the ground very well. So now to the starting line, really hammering the throttle. Wow, nice sound here as well. Although I say I do prefer the V8 sound, don't you? What do you think? So, and again, I must say, just from the all-wheel drive perspective, the car is really a little bit easier to drive than the rear-wheel drive version. With the rear-wheel drive F-Type, you always have to watch a little bit out that your rear doesn't slip out. And here you can just steer the car a little bit with the throttle, so you don't have to be afraid then. It's just when you break the laws of physics, when you're just too fast, then also an all-wheel drive cannot help you. So of course it's not only for the racetrack, the all-wheel drive, it also helps you in general when you're on the road, or maybe when it's snowy or rainy, because then you can also get better control of the car. There is this electronic snow mode available for the F-Type always, for the rear-wheel drive cars. But I mean, with this kind of power output, it can really help you also to have the all-wheel drive, that you can better control the car in snowy or rainy conditions then. So let me draw a short conclusion here about the new F-Type all-wheel drive models. As it stands right now, there are now 14 versions available for the F-Type, if you consider convertible, coupe, all-wheel drive, no all-wheel drive, and also there's the manual hand drive now possible.
Sorry, war mein Fehler. Fangen wir mal an.
Okay. So let me draw a short conclusion here with the new Jaguar F-Type all-wheel drive models. Actually, there are now 14 versions of the F-Type with convertible, coupe, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and also there's now this manual transmission possible. We didn't have these ones here today because the all-wheel drive is always connected here to the automatic gearbox. But you can say that on the racetrack the car is better to control. If you just hammer the throttle, even if it would be a little bit wet, you would have realized this difference maybe a little bit better. So you don't have this very uncontrollable F-Type, because usually it's really aggressive. The all-wheel drive makes it, well, a little bit calmer then, and you can better steer it out the corners then. But actually it will be more relevant in everyday driving, because just when you're on the road, this power here, either 550 or also 380 horsepower, is actually so much just for the normal road driving, that there the all-wheel drive really helps you, especially in winter conditions, because you maybe want to have fun with your F-Type all the time. You see the all-wheel drive will be available here with the convertible as well as with the coupe, and as I said initially, it will actually account for a lot of customers. Of course you have to pay extra for it, but maybe this kind of safety feature will be also quite of important in your everyday riding the F-Type. So looking forward to your comments as well on this all-wheel drive F-Types, and I hope to see you at the next Autogefühl episode.